Unit 4, Chapter 8, Alice in Wonderland. One day, Alice was lying under a tree listening to her sister reading a story. Suddenly, she saw a white rabbit scamper by. So when Alice was listening to her sister reading a story under a tree, she saw a white rabbit scamper by. Scamper means moving fastly. He had pink eyes and was wearing a blue coat. He took out a big watch from his pocket. And as he hurried away, he said, "Oh dear, I will be too late." She thought there was something very different about this rabbit. She thought that the rabbit was different from other rabbits. It could talk, it wore a red waistcoat, and it carried a watch. Alice wondered, a talking rabbit, a rabbit who wears a waistcoat. Alice was burning with curiosity and she followed the white rabbit. Now she wants to know more about the rabbit and she started following the white rabbit. The rabbit started running and Alice followed the rabbit. The rabbit suddenly popped down a large rabbit hole. Alice jumped into the rabbit hole too. Now Alice saw that the rabbit suddenly jumped down into a large rabbit hole. And Alice also, she jumped into the hole. The rabbit went down and down and down and down into the rabbit hole. Alice also went down. Alice said aloud, "Where am I? How many miles down have I fallen? I must be getting somewhere near the center of the earth." She wondered, will I slip through the earth to the other side? Now Alice wondered, I must be at the center of the earth and I might slip. That means I might pass through the other side of the earth. Thump! Alice landed on a pile of dry leaves. She fell on a pile of dry leaves. She looked around quickly and suddenly saw the white rabbit again. Now she looked around and she saw the rabbit again. It disappeared saying, "Oh, my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting." But then the rabbit disappeared saying something like, "Oh, my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting." So that was a very strange rabbit. Alice stood up and saw a small door about 15 inches high. It was too small for her to go through. Now Alice stood up and saw a small door and it was very small for her to go through. She saw a glass table with a golden key on it. She tried the little golden key in the lock and to her delight it fitted. That means Alice saw a key, a golden key on a glass table and she took the key and she tried to open the lock of that door. And to her happiness, delight means happiness, the key fitted to the lock. That means the key could open the door. Alice opened the door and looked into the loveliest garden she had ever seen. How she longed to be among those beds of bright flowers in those cool fountains. Now, when Alice opened the door, she saw a lovely garden, the loveliest garden she had ever seen. Means she had never seen such a lovely garden before. And now she wanted to be among those beds of bright flowers and those cool fountains. She wanted to go into the garden. But she could not even get her head through the doorway. Even though the garden was lovely, and even though she wanted to go into the garden, she could not, because the door was very small. "Oh, how I wish I could become smaller," she exclaimed loudly. And now, at last, she wished that she could become smaller so that she could get through the door and go to the Wonderland or the garden. So this is the story, okay, the pictorial representation of the lesson Alice in Wonderland.